Here are 5 short scary stories to keep you up at night. Number 5. The Lamb. Having a farm was great. He loved it. It's what he always dreamt of. His wife and his kids loved it as well, especially the black little lamb that they had recently bought. His kids loved playing with the black little lamb, and they would play with it for long periods of time. Happy with his wife, they would sit outside in their rocking chairs and watch them play for hours. Life was perfect for him. It couldn't get any better than this. One day, he was feeding the animals in the farm. Then he saw that black little lamb. Its horns were way larger than the day before. Puzzled, he just ignored it. But later that day, he let the animals come outside, but one of them was missing, the black lamb. He went inside the farm and tried to look for it, and there it was, in the very same spot that he left it that morning. But again, the lamb's horns were even bigger. Big enough not to ignore anymore. He got close, kneeled down to see it, and he saw the horns had these carvings and some weird writing and symbols. One of them even looked like an upside down star. He looked inside the goat's eyes, and they didn't look right either. They looked like eyes of a snake. They were black with red veins all over. He was worried, and he could not explain what was going on. So he called the town priest to come and take a look. When he came over, the priest said that a demon had taken possession of the lamb and that they must kill it so that the demon could not escape. Later that day, they killed the lamb. Sad, his children stayed in the room for the whole day. He felt terrible, but he was glad that he did the right thing by killing the demon. At night, when he was sleeping with his wife, his daughter ran into the room, jumping with joy. He asked her what was going on. "Daddy, it's back! It's back! The lamb is back!" Creeped out, he followed the girl into the room, only to find something he would never imagine. It was his son, with horns coming out of his head. Number 4. The Devil's Circle. There exists a spot in all forests called the Devil's Circle, which is ubiquitous and yet nowhere at the same time. You may find it one day, for it to be gone the next. The spot is nothing more than a circle of evenly placed stones. However, nothing lives inside of these stones. It's just bare dirt. During the day, it's okay to touch it and even stand within the circle. If you plant something in it, though, the next day it will die. The real secret to this circle is if you put someone's hair within it, then the next day they will die. Perhaps they die mysteriously in their sleep, or maybe even a car accident. However, in doing so, you give up your soul to the devil. So there's 2 questions you have to ask yourself. 1, is this true? But the most important question is it worth it? Number 3, Handprints. One day, a couple went out on a date. They wanted a little bit of privacy, so they drove to a mountain known to be a good spot for young couples. A few hours later, the sun started to go down, so they began to head home. Somehow, they made a wrong turn and found themselves on a road that they were not familiar with. It was already late though, so they continued down this narrow road until they found themselves in front of a tunnel. They definitely hadn't passed through it on their way in, and it was definitely creepy. But it was the only way they could go. So, they slowly drove into the tunnel. Bang! As soon as the darkness enveloped the car, something hit the rear window. Startled, the woman turned around to see what it was, but she didn't see anything. There wasn't even a car behind them. As far as they could tell, they were completely alone in the tunnel. Her boyfriend began to speed up in an attempt to get out of the tunnel faster. Bang, 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 bang. It sounded as if a dozen of things were striking the car from all directions. The man pressed his foot on the gas even harder. They both wanted to get somewhere where there was people as soon as possible. The tunnel ended after what seemed like an eternity, and shortly after they found their way to a small gas station on the side of a road. The two got out of the car and felt this relief as they stood under a bright light. Just as they were getting ready to get back in the car, the woman noticed that there were handprints all over the windows. They were in all sizes, and there were barely an inch of space on the glass that wasn't covered by handprints. Shaken, they asked the gas station worker to clean the windows for them. The two sat back down in the car and watched as the man quickly got to work on cleaning the windows. As he wiped and scrubbed, the two in the car felt this cold fear creep up their spine. He continued scrubbing all the same, but when he finished all the windows, he cocked his head to the side, walked up to the driver's side window, and knocked lightly. "I'm sorry, but these handprints are from the inside." Number 2. Birthday candles. Timmy tried his hardest to blow out the 15 flickering candles. He huffed and he puffed, but to no avail. He glanced at his mother, who had spent hours slaving away to bake this beautiful cake, and her expression made him feel unbearably guilty. Timmy's mother stared sadly at the unyielding flames that barely faltered in the face of Timmy's feeble attempts to snuff them out. She blinked a few times, and the first tear started to fall down her face, whispering, "Happy birthday, Timmy." She summoned a gust of wind, and the dancing lights dissipated into puffs of smoke. Timmy didn't understand why he couldn't do that. It happened every year. His mother baked a perfect cake, but he failed to blow out the candles, and she would cry. The only thing that changed was the number of candles. Timmy went to go hug his mother, but to no avail. He merely drifted through her, and he didn't understand that either. Number 1. My brother Charlie. I hate it when my brother Charlie has to go away. My parents constantly try to explain to me how sick he is, that I am lucky for having a brain where all the chemicals flow properly to their destinations like an undamed river. When I complain about how bored I am without a little brother to play with, they try to make me feel bad by pointing out that his boredom likely far surpasses mine, considering he's confined to a dark room in an institute. I always beg for them to give him one more chance. Of course, they did at first. Charlie has been back home several times, each shorter in duration than the last. Every time without fail, it all starts again. The neighborhood cats get their eyes gorged out. The toys get thrown around. My dad's razors found dropped on the baby slide in the parks across the street. Mom's vitamins replaced by bits of dishwasher tablets. My parents are hesitant now, using last chances sparingly. They say his disorder makes him charming, makes it easy for him to fake normalcy, and to trick the doctors who care for him into thinking that he's ready to rehabilitate. But I'll just have to put up with my boredom if it means staying safe from him. I hate it when Charlie has to go away. It makes me have to pretend to be good till he gets back.